Hi. You have to excuse me, I'm a little slow today. No reason, just it's raining outside and stuff. I think I might be coming down with something. Anyway, the topic of this video is a question that someone sent me, asking if I thought it were possible for symptoms to appear after a label has been applied, So basically the question is, which came first, the label or the symptoms? My answer to that is I do believe that in some instances, particularly with mental health, that it is possible for people to receive a label and then display the symptoms to that label. And some people are more prone for this to happen. And I'll get to that in a minute. But first I want to say that I believe that it can happen both consciously in some cases and unconsciously or subconsciously in other cases. Consciously, an example would be, and this is something we probably all witnessed, especially in high school, a college, say a girl who is not promiscuous but somehow finds herself in a situation where she is labeled a slut. Some guy she wouldn't put out, and so some guy decided to start rumors about her. It's very upsetting, very distressing, and so people are talking about her. And she decides, well, if they believe I'm a slut, then I'm going to show them slut. And she begins to adopt the behaviors of a slut. An example of unconsciously or subconsciously, say a child is no more clumsy than any other child, but has a very critical parent and calls the child clumsy and, 2 left feet, things like that, consistently, every day. Eventually, that child will incorporate the label of clumsy into their very being and become clumsy. That's actually an example I've witnessed happen. Okay. So I'm going to go by my notes, so I can't, because of how I'm feeling. Also, how your disorder, I'm going to be talking in and out, but specifically when I talk about disorder, I'm talking specifically about bipolar, but it could apply to others. But however your disorder is presented to you initially when you're diagnosed by the mental health team, medical people, family and all that, if they sit down with you and tell you you should expect to be in and out of the hospital, often on a rotation of drugs, be disabled and unable to work, unable to hold a keep a relationship, because that's what's typical of bipolar disorder, people with bipolar disorder. If you're presented with that in that way, just the negative, it could be likely that that's the course that your disorder is going to take. You know, if that's, you know, you just kind of say, oh, well, I have this and this is what's supposed to happen. So I'm gonna make it happen, you know, without thinking that you do it. On the other hand, if you're presented with, okay, well, this is the disorder you have, but, you know, there's treatment, there's some optimism, you know, you just have to work a little harder than most other people, but you can, you know, live life, and we're going to give you some tools, and we're going to help you work through it, and so that this isn't your focus, and that you will be able to live life. If you get that initially, then very likely the course of your disorder will be different. Let's see. Okay, I think I can squeeze this one in. If you are from, say you have a parent, but more specifically, if you have a family that is just full of mental illness, I hate that term, psychiatric disorders, especially on your mother's side, because they really look on that. If it's just stock full of mental disorders and psychiatric conditions, and you could be born into this family and be 3 years old, and people, family members and friends and doctors are all, this is possible, are already expecting you to follow suit. Already the expectation is there. They're already watching you for symptoms of bipolar disorder. You know, if that's the disorder that's prevalent in the family. Children have a knack for guessing at what parents are expecting and what parents want, what doctors want, authority figures want, and for delivering the goods. And also, you're surrounded by it, so you see the symptoms, you hear the terms, you know what they are, you grow up with knowing everyone's expecting it from you, they're watching you. You're telling me that there aren't some kids out there that just because of the intense expectation that they're displaying symptoms. And it's not, and it could be in a very conscious way. I want to play the game, and they get some attention out of it. Or unconsciously, where they just integrate it into their being. I always thought that's what they wanted, you know, kind of thing. And I'm not saying now, I gotta say this, You know, it's my mom's brother. There are children who have problems, who have disorders, psychiatric disorders, behavioral disorders that need help. But I'm saying, I believe some of these children and adults who started out as children incorporated what was expected of them. I have to move on to another video. So I'm running out of time. I have just a little more to go.